All right, good evening. This is the Town of Monroe Board of Finance regular meeting. Today is Thursday, February 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. The meeting will be recorded and made available on the town's website pursuant to state law. I'm going to start with roll call. Catherine Stoffer.
Here.
Steve Kirsch.
Here.
Samantha Spino.
Here.
Nick Sentimentes. No, Nick. Mark O'Donnell. Okay, Terry Rooney.
Here.
Ron Banowski.
Here.
Heidi Mead.
Here.
Deb Heim.
Here.
Frank Duchess.
Here.
Joe Cobza.
Here.
That's everybody.
Nick
Okay,
Sentimentes is here.
Oh, good. Thanks, Nick.
Sure. I need to jump off at 6:30, but I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So next review of the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Steve Kirsch, I move to accept the minutes from January 16th, 2025.
Catherine Stoffer, a second.
Any discussion? Okay, so we have to roll call. Catherine,
Aye.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Samantha Spino.
Aye.
All right, me, aye. Okay, next up is First Selectmen's communications.
Okay, thank you, everybody. As we all know, we're entering budget season. Everybody got a copy of their budget and we've had some good conversations through this development. Myself and Becky and Dave Ferris have had multiple conversations. We had to make some very difficult decisions, as we know. With the reval has affected us significantly with a shift into our households are seeing the biggest impact due to this state revaluation. But as we go through it, obviously, everybody will have a lot of questions, but communications through this process were very open and collaborative, so I'm happy with where we ended up. Based on the original impact that our homeowners were gonna have, we significantly changed that. Moving forward with new business, I don't know if you wanted me to talk about this now, or do you want me to talk about this when these motions come up?
We could do it when we get down there.
Okay, well then that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I speak for a second?
Sure.
The budget books, there's copies if anybody wants a current budget. It's in my office. See me after.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so review of the financial reports. So Ron, I'll just kind of turn it to you if there was anything you wanted to.
There's, at this point, let me start with the Board of Ed, so I'm gonna go a little out of order, so.
That's fine.
Board of Ed, I mentioned at the meeting the other night, right now, some of the utility accounts, specifically electricity, are running a little hot, so to speak. So, it's a little bit of a concern right now.
Is there a reason for that?
So
Building
I
specific?
think rates had, we're able to lock in on half of our rate and the other half we're not able to. So I think that had something to do with it. One of those, I don't think this is a driver right now, although after the February we had, we'll see how the bills come in over the next couple months. But, Fawn Hollow is half electric heat and half gas. So that'll. Right now, we're tracking well in the natural gas, but again, it's early in the winter, once February, March's bills come in. So. I guess. And then there's a couple other areas of concern, but not that significant. And right now, we're looking, I'm gonna go through and see what we can cover from other accounts at this point and, move forward with any mitigation strategies, the balance of the year. I'm gonna defer to Heidi because she's probably a little more in tune with the town side at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that might stick out a little is DPW fuels. We do an allocation after we pay the bills, and I've been working on the budget, so I haven't had a chance to do that. So
Mhm.
once I do that, deficit should go away.
Okay.
How is the outlook for sand, salt? What kind of stuff?
As far as,
Are they using more than they planned this year?
you know, I haven't talked to Chris about it, but I don't think it's a point of concern.
Okay,
One of the problems though with the salt, I will say is, we usually get our, invoices in very late from them. I mean, there have been times where we're bothering them in June for bills from the winter.
Do you know, are they seeing this shortage or no?
Not at this point. I mean, Chris
Okay.
hasn't brought that to my attention, but remember
Because
last
there is
year,
in the market. like,
Really?
Yeah,
I heard that.
yeah,
last year we had a very slow snow season, so we had
yeah.
a pretty decent surplus from last year.
I know that the priority is state and local government.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so that was regular general fund. Then there's the quarterly fire department report. And that's from Monroe.
Yeah, all three fire departments are in there, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone hit.
a lot of numbers, but I don't see anything that's out of whack. Was there anything you all saw that concerned you?
I didn't. We are missing one bank. They're to provide us with all 3 months bank reconciliations for the quarter. We are missing one for, Stepney and, I'm sorry, Stevenson. It was an oversight and, or, you know, they use a bookkeeper and she's gonna get it to us next week.
Okay.
That's the only, that was the only point of concern, which was more administrative.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Nick, do you have your hand up to speak? Okay,
Nick?
No, I think that's the,
Oh,
The mouse.
that's the mouse.
that's the mouse.
Yeah.
oh.
I thought it was.
It was
And yeah,
perfectly
I mean,
played.
if you look up, there's a hand.
How do you do that on the phone?
We're humanizing the
Then I was like, wow, that's rude. She's not even responding.
All right, so if no questions on those fire department reports, then Frank, you're up for the report of the treasurer.
The stiff rate continues to stay in a narrow range. Right now, it's at 4.44%. And that's really the one that drives the bulk of our investment because that's what we get out of both the state and what we get out of Newtown Savings Bank. Year-to-date interest income is $1.8 million against a full year plan of 2.5. Which seems like we're well ahead of it, but the reality is, I went back and I looked at the model through January, which is what this is. The model that we had for this year would have us at 1.7. So we're about $100,000 ahead from an interest rate standpoint. So it's pretty close. And you do see as the year goes on, because we get all our revenue from taxes in January and in July, as you get towards the end of that 6-month period, the interest income continues to go down. So we should be ahead at this point, but even ahead of the model, we're about 100,000 ahead. My guess is we'll continue to stay there. The Fed has 2 more meetings between now and the end of the fiscal year, one in March and one in June. Nobody's anticipating a interest rate drop at this point in time. So my guess is full year, and we'll continue to look at this as we go along. We should be 100,000 to plus or minus maybe as much as 200,000. But again, it's going to depend on where we are. But we should be ahead of the program for the full year. I also looked at what I had given you, Terry, for the input to this year. I adjusted the model a little bit to take the start of the reductions down a little earlier. So you may have a little bit of leeway as we get closer, or if it comes back and you need to do something. But right now, I'd leave it where it is. But the model says if we continue to slow down the rates, the decreases in rate, you may have a little bit of flexibility as the year goes on. In March, we're gonna have about 3.5 million of treasuries maturing. And that's a big number, bigger than usual, but it's a series of 3, 6, and 12 months, all coming together at the same month, because we were kind of layering those, depending on what the interest rates were at the time we'd buy them. Again, we'll take a look at what the interest rate trend is at the time. We will probably split it up somewhat between short and long term, just to see where we are. But if the interest rate continues to stay where it is and even have a chance for an increase, we may go with more shorter term than long term at the next buy. That's it.
Does Newtown have rates based on like stack, like a,
Newtown Savings Bank?
yeah,
What we negotiated a while back with Newtown is that we get the we don't get the passbook rate. We get the state insurance fund rate.
oh, gotcha.
And that was done actually, I don't know whether it's O'Hara or someone before that, for the bulk of the account. What we also did about a year and a half ago, we had about $2 million of funds that were in Newtown where we weren't getting the state insurance fund rate, and they were not covered by FDIC. We changed the investment vehicles that we were using there. So now almost everything we have, all our major funds, including the library fund, the Parks and Rec fund, WMNR,
Mhm.
all now come under the state insurance fund rate, and they're all FDIC insured now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So when you're talking about making a decision, short versus long, what are you calling?
Oh, sure.
Are you doing?
No,
anything
I'm only using T-bills, 3, 6, or 12.
Okay.
I'm
But you
again, from a liquidity standpoint, really staying away from going to notes or going to bonds. Staying with T-bills.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
you.
All right, Deb, you're up. Monthly report of the tax collector.
Okay, as you can see, our report is, we're at 93% at the end of January. Of course, February 1st and February 2nd, the mail was still coming in, so we did collect a lot at that. We got all our reminder notices out last week. So everyone who didn't pay would have gotten a lien notice or a reminder notice. So February should be another good month for us. And we're trending very well. I don't see any problem. I've heard some other towns are lagging behind, but Monroe seems to be in good shape.
Okay.
Is the motor vehicle about where it normally is this time of year?
Motor vehicle was
terms of-
seems a little low to me, but
I mean, just in terms of the
we sent
percentage.
out 4,000 reminder notices, and I don't know why we had so many this year. I don't know if
Like
people forgot to
delinquent?
pay delinquent notices for motor vehicles alone. So, and there was 500 personal properties and about 500 600 real estate. So we sent out a lot of bills. We sent out about over 5,000 delinquent notices out. I was really shocked at the supplemental, why supplemental was so low, because those are the bills we just mailed out and we're at 56%. So that had a concern. I mean, motor vehicles, you could tell people forget to pay them because, we're in 2-installment town, but I didn't understand why the supplemental was so low compared to last year. But we sent out the notices and hope we're getting a lot of responses. So I will know better at the end of February how we are doing. But I'm hearing other towns are at like 90%, 91, where they have been higher in the past. So I think we're higher than we were last year. So I'm not really concerned at this point.
Okay.
We just had a meeting yesterday, and some of the towns were like, "How's your collection rates?" And based on last year, and I said, "Mine's above," and they said, "Oh, you must be the exception."
Okay.
That's all, unless anyone has a question.
No, thank you, Deb. Public participation, I don't If there's any members of the public who wish to participate, please unmute your phone and state your name and address for the record. All right, hearing none, we'll move forward. So new business. Terry, do you want to talk about the transfers or Ron?
Sure, so, I don't know, it was last Board of Finance, it was the one before.
It was last month, yeah.
We had spoken about, so we were, Craig, who's the chief of EMS, was looking for a vehicle because he's been using his own vehicle for years. And demand is such that he felt that he wanted a vehicle. We did have a vehicle that was taken offline by the PD, that high mileage. But our mechanic had looked through it and said there were some repairs and we could put it back on the road. That was that transfer that originally happened, was to fit that vehicle. It ended up coming in a little bit more expensive to fit up that vehicle. So we started to look at it and say, well, you know, this thing has close to 100,000 miles on it. Maybe it's not worth, you know, the investment. Simultaneously, Bill Davin, the fire marshal, was interested in getting a new vehicle. He was looking for a pickup truck that suits his job a little bit better. So we started to look at his vehicle and thought that his vehicle might be better suited for Craig, because it already had radios, it has everything that he needs, and it's a vehicle in much better condition and better to invest maybe money into. So we shopped for a vehicle to see if we could get a vehicle under 50,000 for Mr. Davin, which we found, and then talked about giving that vehicle to Craig. So that's the request for the additional money, is to pay for Davin's truck and then give Craig his vehicle. The hitch on that is the chief of EMS at that point was hoping he could use that 25,000 to fit up his vehicle. However, we made mention to him stating that that money was going to go hopefully to Davin's truck. And at this point, you know, Craig has been using his own personal vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So I do know that he wants to fit it up to be an EMS truck, things of that nature. At this point, I'm trying to work on him to use donations to fit it up, but at this point, we're not exactly settled on that, but he'll have a vehicle to travel if this board approves that movement for Mr. Davin.
So he'll just take and use the vehicle as is. And then if something comes back later, we'll have to find money to, if he can't raise the funds, but we're not gonna come back and retake the funds back. When
No.
we do this tonight. This is-
No, and I know this did stimulate the whole fleet plan and things of that nature
Yeah.
that we will work on that. This is an offshoot. Craig has never had a vehicle before. And he's been going to these calls in his personal vehicle, so. And he's been a very active chief, so it is a useful, it is a good use for that car. However, no, we're not gonna come back for it. That's the end of it.
So,
Could I just add to Terry's,
Sure.
So both of these vehicles are in next year's capital plan budget, so they would be, you know, coming out. So in the proposed budget, they're in the capital budget for next year. The other thing is Bill's, to Terry's point, it was 50,000 for the truck. The total appropriation is 60. There is some upfitting that will be required for Bill Davin's new truck.
For Bill Davin.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay, so
So-
the new truck is going to Davin.
correct.
correct.
Davin's truck is going to,
I think Davin's
EMS.
truck is actually going to his deputy. And then I believe the deputy truck, the fire marshal deputy.
and
truck
Craig
is coming
doesn't
up.
want that. Is
No.
that-
No,
No,
He
he
does.
does.
No, he does.
Oh, okay.
He wants a little extra.
he does, but there
Okay.
may
He
still
just
be
wants to
fit-up that
upfit
he
it,
would like
but
to
we-
do, is what I. that would be-
Yeah, stripe it up, things of that nature.
Okay.
And was there, you said that you had gone down a route with another vehicle. And then it turned out to be more too expensive.
Yeah,
Was there
so-
actual cash outlay for that, or was it just looked into?
It was the original direction we were going to go, is just give Craig that vehicle, but because it was so high mileage and it took so much money to get it back online. Originally, when it came to me, that vehicle was gonna cost 15,000 to put online, and then it was 25,000, then it ended up being, okay, we're at 28, 29. Now we're getting too far for a vehicle at that age. It was just a bad investment.
Okay, so there was some money put into it, basically.
No,
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 we-
we
Oh,
never did.
we allocated.
Yeah.
kind of,
They-
They were
Let's
just
do it.
looking into
Yeah.
pricing it out. for it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
We-
Okay, that's
We
the one.
moved it last
Yeah.
month, so
Yeah.
that they
Moved it, but
could do it.
Yeah,
Then it became too expensive.
Yeah.
yeah, it just wasn't a good financial decision.
Oh, makes sense.
All right, so if we go through with this, and I have a motion prepared. Ron, you said there's money in the capital budget for next year, but if there's still some fit up, that upfit.
What I said
might
is
be-
they're in the capital
They're-
budget
they're
for
in the
next year,
cap-
which is still to be approved, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
But if EMS still has some additional upfit that he wants on the vehicle that he ends up with, there would be some money if it was approved in the capital plan. That would be a place to take that, whatever that additional money might be. We
if,
could do that, or we could take it from someplace else.
yes, if that was what the decision was, then yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I think when the budget comes to us, we
Yeah,
can discuss
we,
that.
that's right. All I'm putting out there is that there's, from what I heard, it sounds to me like there's gonna be some additional upfit for the vehicle that goes to the EMS chief when all these swivels are done. And the question is, where do we get it from? And we could take it from the undesignated fund, we could do it if as a capital expenditure in next year's budget.
Well, I think the fire marshal's vehicle is all set.
Yeah, the
with
fire
this.
marshal vehicle. would
Right,
be
it's
set
the
here.
EMS, so
The
that's the
EMS
one we could
chief
discuss.
May
Yeah.
still have some need or desire
Right,
when we're all said and done.
Okay,
That's
Ju- I-
my takeaway from this discussion.
Very fair.
I
Okay.
just want to make sure that I'm understanding the way that you're understanding. This money, this 25 that we approved and allocated to the EMS chief vehicle last month to upfit his vehicle, his
Proposed.
person,
It was to take an old vehicle and put it back online and giving it what it needed. So it had a water pump it needed and
Right.
other mechanical issues.
so that 25 is now going towards
Bill Davins.
60.
Toward the fire.
Yes.
right.
Yes,
Okay, and that 60 is going to be used to acquire a new fire marshal vehicle.
Yes,
And then we will go back to the EMS chief vehicle and see what that needs for upfitting.
yeah, so right now, I mean, I had some donations, so I was hoping that he would use some donations to help upfit that truck.
Okay,
I mean, if this board wants to set money aside now, I think the upfit was in the area of what, like 15,000?
I think the upfit of the, and it's a rough number. I think
Yeah,
it was
I
in-
would want a new estimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's a
think
new
it
vehicle.
was
like, that's-
it was significantly lower. It was in the 10 range, but.
Okay,
So that was my personal opinion. At this point, he's been using his personal vehicle for this length of time. At least now he'll have a vehicle to use, and then once it gets settled, see what he needs and.
assuming we do this tonight. What's the time frame to get the fire marshal his vehicle? Do you have any idea?
I don't remember, that's a good question. I think it's in stock, so it should be pretty quick.
He's got a, conditional hold on it, right? You know?
Right.
Okay.
and is it the total cost 60?
And the reason why I
That
was
was the
slightly,
outfit, yes.
Okay,
the reason I was slightly confused, because the original one he had, he was in stock, it was a red one, and they sold it on him.
yeah, there was a lot of movement on that.
Yeah, there was a lot of movement on that.
Okay, I do have a letter here from Bill Davin dated February 19th. I make a motion to incorporate this.
Yeah,
Is that,
So,
I think we should wait until we actually make the motion
yes,
for the transfer and then
And
we
then-
discuss.
yes.
read this
Read
and
that
go
in
from
the
there?
motion.
Okay.
okay. Steve Kirsch, I have a motion for new business item 6A, capital reserve transfer. I will now read the following resolution and ask for its adoption. Resolved that the following capital reserve transfers be approved pursuant to Chapter 8, Section 7G of the Town Charter for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. $25,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund committed fund balance and $35,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund assigned fund balance and $60,000 to the Capital Reserve Fund committed fund balance to transfer funds from the EMS chief's vehicle to the fire marshal's vehicle and to transfer, commit, and appropriate an additional $35,000 for the purchase and upfit of the fire marshal vehicle.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
You've got a letter.
That's where I got the letter. So I'm gonna read this, and this was a letter dated February 19th, 2025 to Ron Banowski regarding the GMC pickup. This truck would serve a twofold purpose, enhancing both the fire marshal's office and emergency management department. This vehicle would allow the fire marshal the ability to carry all additional equipment for FM specific requirements that are needed at local emergency incidents. This would eliminate the need to respond back to the office to pick up additional equipment that currently does not fit in the current SUV. Towing of trailers for the emergency management department would be much easier with a truck that can handle the additional weight of trailers and additional equipment that is stored within the trailers. In addition, this vehicle would be an additional resource when the weather is not cooperating. Thanks, Bill. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. So then I think I'll go to roll call. Catherine Stoffer,
Aye.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick Sentimentes. Online.
Aye.
Thank you. Samantha Spino.
Aye.
Okay, and Rebecca O'Donnell, aye. So it's all in favor 5. You want to make the second motion?
Yes, Steve Kirsch, new business item 6B. Resolved that the following transfers be approved pursuant to Chapter 8, Section 7G of the Town Charter for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. $9,580 from HR wage adjustment and $9,771 from Economic Development Department salary part-time and $19,351 to First Selectman salary part-time to fund the grant writer special projects coordinator position as approved by the town council.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion. Terry, do you want to elaborate on any of this?
Sure, so as you know, we had an empty position when when Selectman Kellogg left office, they had an empty position that was planned to be filled with a special projects coordinator / grants writer to assist Bill Holsworth. As we know, people that do this type of work are very difficult to find. The grant writer idea has been around since I started on town council in 2015, and it's always been something that bothered me personally. But when we got into the search for people, it's not an easy fit. We ended up finding a Rosemary who is fantastic, has a history in the Norwalk school system and the city of Bridgeport, and she's been doing very well with grant writing on the municipal side. That being said, I was approached by the Board of Education stating that can we collaborate with the grant writer? Can we work much like we do with Ron with the finance? Can we do this with the current grant writer? I thought it was a fantastic idea. So we sat down and we discussed it. Obviously, Rosemary it's her second career. So I wanted to see what her appetite was for it because obviously she's very talented. I knew that she could do a great job. Well, she was immediately interested in the job and we discussed hours and things of that nature. So that's when I brought it to the table. I'm asking for this because as Rosemary goes through possible grants and things, she is seeing opportunities. She is seeing opportunities to assist in the Board of Ed. With the pressure that Joe has on Board of Ed with increasing costs, I thought it would be a good idea for us to collaborate in that way. So based on how it's organized, I thought it would be better to place that salary in my office so that she can work freely with the Board of Education and myself. She will maintain, Bill Holsworth will be the designee on the municipal side, and Joe has set up, I believe it's Mr. Crowley.
Yeah.
Will be assisting her on that side. So in hopes that as she acquires these grants, she can also teach other people around her how to do it. So we're not, if, let's say, she loses an appetite to do it, at least we have that training. And not that Board of Ed hasn't done grants, but she does have a level of expertise that's unique. So I think it's a good faith effort between the town and the Board of Education. Hopefully it's extremely successful. So yes, I'm asking the Board of Finance to support this. This will get us to the remainder of the year with her.
All right, great. Any comments, questions? Okay, so we'll go to roll call on that one. So Catherine Stoffer,
Aye.
Steve Kirsch,
I,
Nick Sentimentos.
Aye.
Okay, Samantha Spino
Aye.
and Rebecca's aye. Okay, that passes 5. Okay, the next item on new business was to discuss our budget workshop dates. So as you all know, we're gonna get the budget in a few weeks in March. And I just wanted to see, you know, if there's any dates to avoid or anyone want to commit to dates now, but wanted to kind of discuss and see what people's schedules look like in the upcoming weeks.
so we get it when?
March
March
15th.
March 15th?
Yeah, which that's a
So that's-
Saturday,
that's a
so,
Saturday.
yeah,
Okay. So we have a Board of Finance meeting on March 20th.
correct.
So I believe and Terry, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe town council's intent is to vote on it on March 10th at their
March
meeting.
10th, yes.
Wow.
And, you know, they have to, by charter, they have to have it to you by the 15th,
Yeah,
but there is a
that's
good.
likely you'll have it earlier that week.
Okay, and I guess, you know, my intent with a budget workshop, I would like to schedule one meeting where the department heads that we would want to speak to come collectively that one night. So it could be, you know, a longer meeting, but have everyone connect during that meeting. And then if we want to set up extra meetings after that, we can. But for department information, I was looking to have one session and make it very efficient that way.
2 comments. First, we need to have a public hearing. So by charter.
Right,
So I would think we would do that upfront on whatever the first meeting night is. We can do that before our regular meeting. We can do it as part of a separate meeting. I think haven't we done it as part of our regular meeting?
I feel like we did it with council last time.
No.
No?
We
It's
have
gotta be
No, we
separate.
had our
It does
own.
have to be separate.
No,
Okay.
we will
I don't
have
know
our
why
joint
I'm
meeting with
remembering
council,
that.
but no, we're required after we get the budget to hold a
to have
public
our
hearing.
own, right.
So the question is when, and I guess we can go back and look at how we've done it, but we tend to do that first. Number one, that's my
We
first comment.
we could include it in our regular meeting, though. It
You
doesn't have to
could
be a special budget workshop, does it?
You know, I believe it's been done both ways. I
But
don't
it
know
has,
how.
I think it has.
Yeah, I think it's been incorporated into a meeting.
Right.
And Terry, is council holding a separate public hearing?
27,
The
Yes,
27th.
27th.
Yeah,
They're doing it all in one night.
yeah,
yeah. I think this is just my thought, is maybe to have it either before a regular meeting for maybe a half hour or,
Mhm.
you know.
okay,
Yeah, I mean, so we could do it. Well, the question becomes, in my mind, and let me just run through number one, do we want to do something between the 15th and the 20th? I don't know that it's necessary because I think we have plenty of time. Then the question becomes, do we want to have the public hearing as part of our regular meeting on the 20th? Because we could set it up to do the public hearing at 6, and
Right.
at this point, we could just change our start time to 6:30, or we just make it the first item on the agenda and we leave our 6 o'clock. And that, along with whatever discussion we may want to have,
Mhm.
would be that first night. The next comment is, we've always treated the Board of Education as a sole meeting. So when you're talking about the department, we treat the Board of Ed
As
as
a
one
separate.
meeting, and we treat all of the municipal departments as a second meeting.
Can I elaborate on that? We
Sure.
also have a night in the past for revenue and a
And the
night
night
for
for
capital.
capital.
Right.
Yes. So,
So depending on when we get the budget, right? If it's between the 10th and the 14th, we could, in theory, hold a special meeting
you could.
for the public hearing. And then take a look and set dates for all of the departments we want to meet with.
Mhm. So in the past, I think we did like twice a week.
Yeah.
We did.
So I was trying to kind of consolidate some of that just so that,
I do like the idea of trying to meet with all of the departments we want to in one shot. I just don't know how late that would take us. So would a Saturday be possible?
that I'm not sure.
What?
For departments, I don't know if they.
No.
I mean,
think
after
there-
hours, I
It's
don't
always, it's
know.
always been done, and yeah, you
I-
may have one later meeting, or you have two, if you want to split them up.
Mhm.
Or maybe there's some departments we don't really want to talk to. The only, let me address your first point. They may think they're voting on the 10th, and they may vote on the 10th. If they make any changes, then Ron and Heidi still have to, do their thing, publish it and whatever. So I would not plan because of those two reasons, I wouldn't plan on us doing anything until after the 15th.
Right, so that's why I
So-
said if they do pass it, we could hold a special meeting if it's early enough. So we could do it on the 20th
Well,
and start with the public hearing.
Mhm.
oh, yeah, if that's what you're
Or we
saying,
can do it on
yeah.
the 17th or the
Right.
18th or
Yeah.
whatever, if we want to split it up, I mean.
Right, if we could do any day before. All I'm saying is we have the option if we get it early.
Yeah, but I wouldn't plan on that. And as long as you're not doing it that week, because there's also a Board of Ed, the ad hoc committee has a meeting on March the 13th. So I would not plan on doing anything until at least Monday, the 17th.
And that's St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
And so we all have to dress appropriately.
I might be away that day, so traveling actually out of state, so I might not be here that day.
Ready to New York?
No.
I think,
Florida,
I think
but-
we ought to plan for we ought to plan for the public hearing during our meeting on the 20th.
That's what I wanted to
Okay.
do.
And maybe we should pick one the next week.
So, and just so everyone's
So
aware,
the-
we have to have it back by April 20th.
Yeah, we've got.
And then you do have a week in there, the 14th to the 18th, I believe, is the school spring break
Well, I would hope to be done with the Board of Ed stuff.
before that. So I
Before
think
that.
we would make Board of Ed a priority.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we had like a straw man calendar like we had in the past, but if we plan on the 20th for the public hearing and whatever preliminary discussion we want to have, which could include laying out more dates, I would like to pick the next date after that tonight. Just so that we don't run into worrying about special meeting, and postings and that kind of stuff. We could pick Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The only reason I say Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is because Monday, the 24th is the town council meeting. And so obviously Terry would be there, potentially Ron and whatever. So I would like to suggest we do one or two meetings that following week, 25th, 26th, 27th.
I'm unavailable on the 25th.
Can you do Wednesday, the 26th?
I can do the 26th, 27th, 28th.
No, we tend not to do meetings on Fridays.
Okay, well,
Um,
that would give us,
how about we plan on Wednesday, the 26th?
Sam, what's your availability?
That's fine.
Is Nick still on or did he
No.
jump?
Nick left.
You wanna,
Okay,
I don't know where you.
so with
wanna
Nick
take-
and Mark, I can follow up with them and see, so we could preliminary.
So we would, yeah, so we would do the 20th. It would include our regular meeting and public hearing.
Correct. And then the 26th
Wednesday,
for,
the 26th. And you want to do Board of Ed that night?
that work for you?
That's what I'm looking at here.
Okay, yeah, if you're ready, we'll take you as the first.
Because
So we just-
sometimes we end up revisiting them.
Right, and I like to,
We remember we've had follow-ups with special ed, because we may end up with a discussion that brings back specialists from there.
and that's another point. Ron, when are the insurance info come? That comes in April?
So we are anticipating what the state told us, they said early March.
Oh, great,
Now,
okay.
I don't know what that means.
So we may or may not
For the
have
26th,
some
better not be
accuracy,
early.
okay,
And I'm gonna throw CMRS in there too.
okay,
I inquired with the state when they would have the rates available. They haven't responded.
okay.
So,
Seamers is the police pension.
so if we do Board of Ed in one night, and we do at least one night of committees, and as Heidi said, we generally do two nights, one for revenue and one for capital. Now, last year, one of those, we invited the town council and it was to the capital. So we're talking about three meetings
other-
in addition to the Board of Ed, right?
Yeah. So is everyone available Wednesday, Thursday nights?
Mhm.
Looks like it.
Okay. So then, do you want to do the second and third?
We have to be done by April what?
April 20th. So really, that's a Sunday, so really, by April
Yeah,
18th,
right.
that Friday.
And that's a holiday too.
Yeah, that's Good Friday.
That's Good Friday. You guys have a meeting, I believe, is it the 17th?
We do,
We
yeah,
have a meeting,
Yeah.
yeah, because that can always be our final vote.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, if you want to have them back to back on April 2nd and 3rd, that's fine by me. What was wrong with April 1st? The only reason maybe not to have them back to back, again, is whatever you put on the finance department or anything we have Terry and his folks following up on. I'm certainly available.
I'm available on April 1st.
Mhm.
You want to do the 1st and the 3rd?
The 1st and the 3rd, that works. Do we want to split? I'm just thinking into like segments, right? So if we're meeting with all of the departments in one night,
mhm,
is there a way to do, so we're meeting with Board of Ed in one night, right? If we do like town departments in one night, and then maybe like emergency management in one night. So PD, fire,
that's right.
EMS,
That's a good way to do it.
so that we're talking about the same bundle of things each night.
that's fine.
Town, EMS, fire, and then you need two more, so you'd end up with 4 meetings. 'Cause
So-
you need one for revenue.
Board of Ed expenditures, revenue,
Board of Ed.
town departments, emergency management,
You need
that's
a-
5.
Right, then you need a revenue budget. You did.
That I have 5, and then Do you want highway to be its own, or do you want that included in emergency management?
It could be
Well, that could be
either
town.
town or
It didn't.
Right.
yeah,
Town.
it's more town than anything.
Right,
So one,
and
2, 3, 4, 5.
A lot of
Yeah,
the
so we
departments
have
are
board,
very
we have
small.
board,
Go
yeah,
big.
Yeah, this is
so we have
in,
Board of Ed, if I understand you right. We have Board of Ed, a town, a emergency and fire, a revenue, and a capital.
and then if we need
And
one
then-
more.
And then we would finish up on the night of our regular meeting on the 17th.
Mhm.
and
if
we have
need-
room if we need more.
Right,
And
and
we
if
have
we
room
need
if we
another
need-
joint meeting with council, we can do that, right?
Yes, we can invite them to any of.
So you're doing 3 expense,
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have
Well,
three
or-
expense.
Well, departments.
Board of Ed.
expense,
Well, Board of Ed
CapEx,
is
and emergency.
everything about the Board of
Okay,
Ed.
Board of Ed.
Board of Ed.
Okay. Board of Ed in total,
In total.
then you have
Town
departments,
departments.
Mhm.
and then you have the emergency
Fire.
management,
Emergency
Emergency services.
Services, then a
Then-
revenue discussion.
and then you're gonna have a separate capital
and
one
then a
as
separate
well.
capital. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
where we would invite, as we did last year, we invited
Town
the council.
So the capital meeting will be joint with council.
If so, if we want, I thought it
No,
worked.
yes,
I'm sorry. Town
Okay,
council is going to be meeting with all the departments
on the 27th,
on the 27th.
when we have our joint meeting.
okay, so then from there we can,
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
You,
Emails
Well,
and
that's
updates.
there.
yeah, I don't know.
The
if-
majority of our
Are
departments.
they meeting outside the joint meeting or within the joint meeting, do you know?
Within.
Within, they've never done it. We've never done
Well,
that
they're
before.
doing the joint meeting, then they're doing the departments after.
Well, when are they doing the
Right.
public hearing?
Gotcha.
Thursday.
Everything's on the 27th.
No. Public hearing, then joint meeting.
Yep.
Then they're gonna go into
I'm
their
not sure
work
the order,
session.
but yes.
Well, the order is what sort of matters in this discussion, right? Because we normally don't stick around, right? The joint meeting is an exercise for the two bodies.
Yep.
Then they have held their public hearing following that joint meeting,
I
right? We
think-
leave,
I believe the meetings have been posted.
I
so-
think Carrie
Yeah.
posted the agenda, so I.
okay. As of last night, I didn't see them.
I think as long as we have our next two
Yeah.
scheduled.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, actually.
and that's all I wanted because I know schedules are busy and I just wanted
So-
to start it sooner than later.
So we can lock in the 26th and we can do the 1st and the 3rd. That gives us our next 3 meetings and at our meeting on the 20th, we can pick additional dates and they would be, or even the 26th, we pick additional.
Yeah, because
dates,
I
they
would
be
like
norm-
Mark and Nick to
normally
weigh in
noticed.
on their availability as well.
Yeah,
So the agenda is joint with Board of Finance, then starting at 6:30, public hearing, and then 6:45 is the department heads. So it is all.
Items 4, 5, and 6.
So with that, we can decide who we want to have come back.
okay.
Mhm.
So what time is this?
Yeah, if you want to stay
Sorry.
for the whole thing, you could listen there.
Oh, yeah.
6 P.M.
Yeah.
Okay, so the meeting that's been posted for the town council is 6 P.M. for their meeting that starts with pledge of allegiance, a roll call, communications, and then item 4 is the joint meeting with us, joint discussion with us. Then, starting at 6:30 is a public hearing,
Mhm.
and then starting at 6:45 is their budget discussion with department heads.
Right,
Good,
right,
which we can stay for or not, but
right.
it doesn't affect our, because we're not gonna be there questioning the department.
Exactly. It's not our meeting. So. Okay,
So we're locking in the 20th as a public hearing. Wednesday, the 26th will be our meeting with the Board of Education. The 1st, April 1st will be town departments. And April 3rd will be the emergency services.
So the.
I think, oh, sorry.
And Ron, if we lock in April 1st, you'll coordinate with department heads, and if there's any conflicts, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, either we could or Terry's office will,
Okay.
I think the sooner once you're, you want to talk to, Mark and Nick still, right? Just to firm.
I
that.
do, yeah.
So once you're firm on that, I think we can, either myself, Heidi, or like I said, Terry's office.
And then on the 20th or the 26th, or frankly, the 1st or the 3rd, we will pick the dates for the remaining two
Mhm.
meetings.
26th POE.
I think that's
First is
a-
town.
Okay.
And right now.
Is everybody good with that?
emergency service.
Yes.
I think that's-
26th. April 1st and 3rd.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
I think that's good.
And then I'll follow up with Mark and Nick offline.
And we have to have it back to the selectmen when?
April 20th.
April 20th, okay. So we have a meeting on the 17th. Board of Ed ad hoc is on the 10th.
So 417 would be your final vote.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if we haven't done it beforehand, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we need, that's the round robin, so we need the.
We need
be a
everyone
good
here for
shape
that.
Going
Yeah.
into that,
We have the week of the 7th if we need to add anything.
yeah,
Mhm.
or even a few days,
Okay, great.
14th through 16th.
True, right.
I think it works.
Oh, perfect.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
One second.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.